Before this video starts, I'd just like to say that this entire project was a complete experiment that was full of mistakes. So don't do any of the things I do in this video unless you know what you're doing, because I sure didn't. Hey guys, Double K here, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be giving this laptop a complete makeover. So this is a 2005 Sony Vaio laptop. It comes with an Intel Celeron M processor, a 100 gigabyte IDE hard drive, and half a gig of RAM. Along with those severely underpowered specifications, we have a broken keyboard, a chipped corner, a bunch of scribbles, and no rubber feet. But I'm going to change all that. Today, we are going to be completely restoring this computer. We're going to be upgrading all of the internal hardware, except for the IDE hard drive, because I don't want to reinstall the operating system. And we're going to be doing a little exterior work too. So, the first step is to get this thing completely disassembled. Let's get started.
Whoa.
Got it. Oh yes! I defeated the motherboard. Okay. After much grueling work and tons of screws, we finally have the whole computer disassembled. So now it's time for some basic cleaning. Mainly the outer components. The motherboard doesn't really need to be cleaned. It's got a little bit of dust, but that can just be easily blown off. So the motherboard's good. The heatsink I'm going to blow off with an air compressor, and then I'll probably I'll have to wash these pieces with like some alcohol or something, and I'm going to remove the stickers. I'm going to keep the product key just in case I absolutely need to reinstall the OS, and remove all the stickers and all that. But yeah, so let's get to the cleaning part. Okay, so we got all the stickers removed on the bottom piece. Now it is time to move on to the keyboard. Now, I am not washing off and cleaning this lid right here because this is actually going to be painted black along with all the bottom pieces. So the painting is going to come later, but first we gotta clean this keyboard. Now, the thing about this keyboard is, first of all, it's missing some keys. I have keycaps for all these. And another thing that I'm worried about is I tested the keyboard when I first got this computer, and most of the keys work, but some of them don't. I think it has to be related to all the dirt and dust and grime that's underneath. So I'm gonna give this keyboard a really good cleaning and hope for the best, because no one's selling this keyboard anyway, so it's not like I'm gonna be able to just buy a new one. That's why I didn't buy a new one in the first place. That's why I bought some keys. So I'm just hoping for the best, but let's clean the keyboard and then we'll get on to painting. Okay, so this is looking much better. It's not perfect. We still got bits of rust and stuff and little chips and scratches from who knows what. I used isopropyl alcohol because it doesn't like corrode or anything. It doesn't like get in the way of electronic stuff. It doesn't conduct. So I managed to clean all this, and I got plenty of alcohol inside the caps when I was brushing them. So the caps, I just hope the caps are clean enough, and it's basically winging it. Alright guys, it's time for some painting. I got some black spray paint here, and we're just gonna basically paint all these pieces. So, let's get started. Never, ever, ever paint those keys the way I did. Okay, so I painted all the keys individually by spraying them down with paint. That did not work well. You can look here and see they just look so disgusting. So painting the keys was a total failure because I'm bad at that. So they look all messy, and I'm like to myself, what can I do about this? And then I've got an idea. I have some carbon fiber vinyl wrap. What if I just wrap the top of the keys? And sure enough, that worked pretty well. It looks great. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna wrap all of these keys. I'll show you how I wrapped one of them, and then I'll just wrap the rest off camera. So here we go. Let's do this. Okay, so there's our second key. I did make a little bit of a scratch right there, so I might take a little bit of paint and just lightly paint over it. But if anything like that happens, I'll be sure to fix it. So I'm gonna do all these keys, then we'll come back and put some letters on them, and then we'll spray paint the rest of the exterior laptop pieces. And here it is, the carbon fiber wrapped keyboard. I also got some stickers for it. so that we can tell which buttons we are pressing. So because of the dirt that got on some of the keys during the painting, I had to scrape away at some of the paint. So I'll probably just touch up each key before I put this back onto the reassembled computer. But for now, let's get out the rest of the pieces and paint them. We'll take them inside to dry so that they don't get dirt on them. And then we'll put the whole thing back together. Okay guys, so the paint has dried, and now it's time to put the whole laptop back together. So first, a quick note on the CPU. I did feel like upgrading the CPU, but then I realized that this motherboard has a certain socket, and there's not actually very many CPUs that go with this socket. So this CPU, the one that came with the computer, is actually the highest one, is actually the most powerful CPU that I can currently put into this socket. So the CPU will not be upgraded. The RAM, however, I will install the maximum capacity of RAM that this motherboard can handle, which is 2 gigabytes. I know, this is old, but 2 gigabytes is better than 1/2 of a gigabyte, which is what this computer had previously. Alright, so now let's turn to the shell. So this shell piece has a crack right here, like a hole. I have the piece to fill this in, but still won't look great, so I'm going to wrap this whole surface, like right here, in carbon fiber wrap. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take some model paint and just paint over this, and then leave these buttons alone, and then the rest will be. So I'm going to do that, but before we do that, we got to get the heatsink cleaned out. And we're done. Alright, so quick update. I have the carbon fiber on the areas that need it. The paint kind of got ripped off when I was placing the carbon fiber, but you know what, whatever, I'll paint that again. Speaking of paint, the carbon fiber did not go over all these ports very nicely, so I decided to paint these with a brush instead, and as you can see, I am almost done. So I'm gonna finish painting the sides, and then we'll let the paint dry, and then finally, I can put this computer back together. Alright guys, it is now time to put the computer back together. The paint has dried, and by the way, it looks really, really good. So basically how I'm going to do this is I'm going to just take all these pieces, put them back together, while watching a reversed video of me taking this thing apart, because well, I've been working on this computer for so long that I've literally forgotten how what goes where and how everything goes back together. So yeah, this may take a while, but I'll get it done. at this beautiful piece of machinery. Oh my gosh, this looks so good, man. So here we go. The computer has been fully reassembled and it's almost complete. The only things that I have left to do are a little bit of touch-ups. I gotta clean the screen off. I have to paint these corners here and paint these little areas here on the keyboard. I have to paint these areas over here and kind of even out the cuts here. And I have to paint over here, and a little bit of the edges needs a second coat, so that'll happen too. And also, here's the big dilemma. So the rust on the keyboard was real. It did cause the some of the keys to not work, like the backspace doesn't work and some of that stuff. Some of the keys themselves don't work, so it's honestly impossible to type properly on this thing. So really, this computer will never really be finished until the keyboard can be replaced, which won't happen anytime soon because there are literally no listings on eBay for any of these keyboards. But I have an external keyboard. It's big and hunky, but it'll get the job done. So I guess what we do now is we give it the final touch-up it needs, get an external keyboard for it, and then clean up the operating system. Oh, and also I gotta put the silver back on here. But other than that, it looks really good. The paint job doesn't look terrible. This just looks like a project computer. I mean, this just looks like a project computer. The bad paint job, the carbon fiber, everything looks like it's like homemade and done on a desk. It just looks great. It just looks like a big experiment. Alright, so all of the touching up has been finished on this computer, and now it's time to work on the operating system. So here's the thing about the operating system. This computer runs Windows XP, and it also has a network connection problem that's, I believe, software related. So the thing about Windows XP is, Windows XP is a great operating system. I really don't know how to use it very well, so I'd rather use Windows XP on a fully functioning computer than a half functioning computer. So what I'm thinking is I can install Windows 7 on this, and I can fix the network connection issue. It's much easier to fix on Windows 7 because Windows 7 still has like support and updates and everything. So that's what I'm thinking. I don't want to do this on Windows XP because if I connect Windows XP to my internet, you know, Windows XP is full of holes and it ran out of support, and if I get a virus on this thing that spreads through my whole internet connection, then I'll have like 50,000 computers that are contaminated. So I don't want to deal with that. So Windows 7 is the way to go with this guy for now. And if all else fails, I'll just reinstall Windows XP on this. But let's go ahead and install Windows 7 and see how that goes. Alright, so Windows has been installed. Now, we do not have an internet connection, and it is not letting us activate Windows yet because we don't have an internet connection. So the first thing we need to do is fix the internet. So it looks like I need to click connect to the internet. Next. No, I'll create a new connection. Okay. What is, it says broadband PPPoE. Using a DSL or cable that, neither of these options I have. I don't have a DSL or cable. And I don't have a dial-up. This is a big mess. But if all else fails, that'll just be the end. And, you know, this computer isn't finished yet, you know? I still have to replace the keyboard. So, if I can't get an internet connection, it's really not the end of the world. There's obviously going to be a second video where I'm going to replace the keyboard and get everything else fixed. It's maintenance time, where I do all the little bitty things on the software side before I get into the big stuff. The big stuff was already completed. We gave this laptop the makeover it needed. So that's really all we needed to do, and with that I believe we're finished. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please be sure to hit that like button down below. Also, you saw my disclaimer at the beginning. This computer, this makeover, this was a whole experiment. I had never done anything like this before, so you know, I was bound to run into mistakes with the carbon fiber and the internet connection and the hardware and all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking to do something like this yourself, do not follow my advice, because I made a ton of mistakes that cost me days of redoing things like the keyboard. So look at some other people who know what they're doing if you want to do something like this, because I am a noob. I'm a noob when it comes to the computer things like these. I'm good with fixing computers. I'm not good with making them over. I'm not good at spray paint. So with that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye.